which brings me to my next guest, which is His Excellency Fawad Chaudhry, our guest of honor. He's the Minister of Information and Broadcasting of Pakistan. And he had the courage, when he was the Minister of Science and Technology, to go against all the cultural perspectives and develop a calendar to predict very, very accurately of when Eid will be held and when Ramadan will start and so on and so forth. His Excellency is a politician and lawyer by profession and has worked as a political analyst and an anchor for several media organizations. His Excellency has been a member of the National Assembly of Pakistan since 2018. His Excellency has held the portfolio of Minister of State for Information and Political Affairs and subsequently as the Minister of State for Political Affairs. His Excellency also served, like I mentioned earlier, as the Minister of Science and Technology, where he overhauled the ministry completely and took several new initiatives. Currently, His Excellency is the Minister of Information and Broadcasting of Pakistan. Excellency, the floor is yours.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I'm so grateful to ICESCO and our whole body for inviting me here in the among the galaxy of the space scientists, academicians, and a very, very learned crowd. And actually, some of the speeches I heard were so intriguing. I must appreciate, especially the president of ICESCO referred to two ideas of having an international solar energy plant, a solar station, through which we can have an electricity 24 hours a day, and the clean, and again, the drinking water thing. I think two very, very, I would say, big ideas that he has introduced today in his opening speech. And I'm extremely, I never thought like that. And this is something very new for me. And space science is always so full of explorations. It's always a mystical thing that it is attached with the space science. And I don't know, I mean, history unknown. Human is always inspired, intrigued, and mystified by the space, by the stars. And the recent, actually, even if we see especially the Arab history, where as Morocco is hosting this seminar, the whole Arab history is full of the mystics about the stars, the kind of explorations that stars have brought to us and the human life. Obviously the modern space science starts with Galileo in 1609, using his early version of telescope, the way Galileo became the first person to record observations of the sky. He made his astronomical discovery also. He sparked the birth of modern astronomy with observation of the moon, phases of Venus, moons around Jupiter, sunspots, and the news that seemingly countless individual stars make up the Milky Way galaxy. At the time, most scientists believed that moon was a smooth sphere, but Galileo discovered that moon has mountains, pits, and other features just like Earth. So 1609 is the beginning of the modern space era, and obviously we have to give credit to Galileo, the great man, the great man of the human history, I would say. And then October 4, 1957, Russians launched their first satellite, Sputnik 1, the 183-pound basketball-sized satellite orbited the Earth in 98 minutes. So you can imagine that the 1609, when the Galileo actually introduced this modern concept of space to us, it took hundreds of years. And in 1957, after about 300 years, man reached to a space place where they can actually launch the first satellite. Then 1961, Yuri Gagarin obviously became the first person in space, making a 108-minute orbital flights in his Vostok 1 spacecraft, another huge achievement of humans. In 1963, another, I must say, the hero of the space science politics is obviously the JFK, the John F. Kennedy, the great American president, who actually set aside all these notions that it's too expensive program and space programs, they need to be spent on the human first and then you think of space. He set aside all these notions and came up with this famous quote when they say, but why some say the moon, he posed. Why choose this as our goal? We chose to go to this moon in the decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills, because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are willing to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and the others too. And this thinking of JFK actually led to this another huge leap forward for humankind as far as investments in the space is concerned and the new technologies are concerned. The spillover technology from the development of sophisticated management processes led to creation of this term that we know now as software. The whole concept of software actually came from the JFK case, this whole program, space program. And with this software, the creation of 747 twin jet commercial airline came in. And these innovations are now backbone of 21st century. The whole 21st century scientific innovations are actually revolves around software. And this is the kind of vision that we must give credit to JFK that he, introduced the word to this whole new sphere. When in July 1961, the Apollo 11 crew successfully completed the national goal set by President J.F. Kennedy to perform a lunar landing and return to the Earth. NASA's Apollo 11 mission achieved the goal and made history when astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first person to set foot on, to set foot on the moon, famously declaring this one small step for one man, one giant leap for mankind. The moon itself is an exciting destination. Later, once the Apollo 16 astronauts landed, they used it as a viewing platform to look deep into cosmos, and thanks to crew of Apollo 16, for the very first time, a telescope similar to the one to be attached here was attached on the moon, explored the vastness of the space from the surface of another planetary body. Humankind started to learn more about space, dark matter, black holes, and other galaxies, etc. And then the launch of Hubble on April 24, 1990. This was launched to perform innumerable science observations that have revolutionized humanity understandings of the universe. Hubble was peered back into universe's distant past to locations more than 13.4 billion light years from Earth, capturing galaxies merging, probing the supermassive black holes that lurk into depths and helping us better understand the history of expanding universe. And on November 2nd, 2000, the International Space Station, inhabited by 3 astronauts after 10 years and more than 30 minutes missions, it is a result of unprecedented scientific and engineering collaborations among 5 space agencies representing 15 countries. Now, the international cooperation in the space program is the hallmark of 21st century. And as the president of ICESCO in his speech mentioned, that this thinking of international collaboration into space sciences is actually the hallmark of 21st century. And this is actually an opening of new era. And I'm very happy to be part of this conference also, where this is another expression of our international cooperation with each other and how that we can actually multiply our resources, the human resource, and achieve the missions that human body never thought of. So this is extremely important for us to step out from unilateralism and enter into multilateralism. So this is the way how the space science can actually move forward. Uh, I'm also I also would like to uh, give some idea of Pakistan space program. In Pakistan, actually, uh, the great Dr. Abdul Salam, we owe our space program to this Nobel laureate, Dr. Abdul Salam, who did wonders for us in this space program. We found our space agency just 4 years after NASA. And in 1961, when we launched our first rocket, Rahbar, Pakistan was just the second country after USSR in this region that launched its rocket. And the modern space, we got a setback in between when in 1970 to 1990 we have not been really able to keep up the great work initiated by Dr. Abdul Salam, and we lag behind. In my view, now in Pakistan, I would, as a Minister of Science and Technology, I was really looking forward for the private entrepreneurs to come forward and invest in Pakistan's space science. Even now, my idea will be that governments need to open up the space programs to the private entrepreneurs. The word belongs to private individuals. Governments will try to squeeze the space program only and will look to the space program only with the security link, with the security lens. It will actually, we will be actually bringing down the importance of space programs. So, in my view, government should actually stay away from stay away from squeezing the space programs. Rather, they should facilitate private investors and private companies to come and invest in the space. And ideas like international space energy station, ideas like clean water using space science, ideas like monitoring of agriculture crops, ideas like monitoring of disasters, and last but not the least, of colonizing the stars. These all ideas can be implemented if the governments, multinationals, they get together and we give human minds more openness in these fields. So I hope this conference will go a long way to establish these principles among the whole, member nations. And we would like to collaborate. I'm here in Pakistan. We are very open for the collaborations. I would be very happy to facilitate any of, any country or the company who would like to come to Pakistan, invest in Pakistan in the space sciences, and we have huge opportunities. Thank you very much for having me.